since it is 2020 and all, I figured now would be a very good time to take a vacation and get off this hellscape we call Earth and enter the great big unknown known as space. And that's totally where I am. I'm not actually in the basement hiding. I'm in space. See? That's real metal. It's definitely not my basement. I'm definitely not on top of my washing machine.
Speaking of the great unknown, do you know what I love? Well, besides Halloween, Dreamcast games, and good whiskey, of course. Alien! Yeah, the Alien franchise. I've spoken about them before, but the first 3 Alien films are something special, and I have a rather unique appreciation and love for each one of them. Yes, even 3. Come out from behind the sofa, the angry people are gone. You might be dark, depressing and blunt, but I will always simp for you.
These 3 films inspired some pretty great video games, the Contra series being probably the best example that I can think of. Finally, in 1996, after a few misses, the franchise finally got a game worthy of the series. Alien Trilogy.
Now, I'm going to say this in the most endearing way possible. Alien Trilogy is a Doom clone. Like, seriously, not joking, it's exactly like classic Doom with an alien skin. And I am absolutely okay with that, because, honestly, it totally works. The game is drenched in that perfect mid-90s FPS atmosphere, with a healthy dose of themes right out of the film. Plot-wise, it's loosely based on the Source 3 films, but it does deviate heavily because, let's be real, only one of them would properly directly translate into a game.
And somehow, Gearbox still screwed that up. What? It might have been 3 years since I quite literally buried the hatchet, but I reserve the right to still be mad about it.
This game, it totally gets it, for the most part. The aliens don't really move like you'd expect them to, spending most of their time walking upright on 2 feet instead of slithering around the environment. And it does get quite challenging at points, but man, look at this Queen entrance. Soak that in. That right there, with her just peering out of the mist, it's perfect. It's ecstasy. I'm happy. Too bad though, on the way here, somebody turned out all the bloody lights. Seriously, it's pitch black. This footage is brightened up a ton, trust me. And because of it, it can be super hard to get around in these maze-like maps. Plus the dog alien, it's something. It's cool, don't get me wrong, but man, does it look weird. As do the battle androids. Still, it's far from a bad game, and it's, you know what, held up pretty darn well over the last 24 years.
But we all know the rules of Halloween on this channel. I have to dig up something forgotten, usually buried for a very good reason. This year is no different. I like to pretend this film doesn't exist. A lot of people will tell you that Alien 3 is the bastard child of the series. They're wrong. This is. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Alien Resurrection.
Okay, I'm going to keep this brief because absolutely nobody needs a repeat of the Bright video with me going on another half-hour ramble about a film that gets near about everything wrong. From the onset, this film makes no sense. Why is it even a thing? Anyone who saw Alien 3 knows that it ends with Ripley popping out a burster, falling into molten lead. That's it. That's final. Do you know what happens to a body when it hits that much heat?
For the record, no, it doesn't get entombed or anything like that. Basically, the unfortunate soul becomes carbon. In certain steel mills, in situations where someone has fallen in, since there aren't even like bones left of the deceased, the mill will pour out an ingot roughly the same weight as the victim that was then used for memorial services.
Short and sweet, there shouldn't be any genetic material for them to find, but lo and behold, here's a clone. And it's somehow still got the alien inside, because that makes sense. Also, Ripley 8 here has acid blood.
The term Mary Sue has absolutely been ruined by the state of online discourse these days. However, I can't think of a better description for this particular iteration of Ripley. The only way they got Sigourney Weaver to sign on to this hack job of a script was to, and I quote, drive a truckload of money to her house. Dignity and artistic integrity be damned.
Also, the company, Weyland-Yutani, yeah, they're done.
Oh, they went under decades ago, get them in way before your time. Bought out by Walmart.
So the overseeing evil entity is replaced with the US military. Ripley is somehow alive 200 years later and is half alien. Winona Ryder is here, and like everything she's in that isn't Beetlejuice, she's boring as all hell, and letting a weird Frenchman direct it didn't help either, and they got the weirdest they could find with Jean-Pierre Jeunet, better known for Les Cités des Enfants Perdus, and Emily.
That's the second time I've mentioned City recently.
Jean-Pierre also didn't speak a lick of English, so production was strained and tons of lines are really awkward. Like, maybe you should have done a second take levels of awkward.
Disposables. Hey, I heard about those. Yeah.
You're the new model droid. You can access the mainframe by remote.
No, I can't. I burned my modem. We all did.
Kill you! Does that compute? Or do I have to draw you a schematic?
So Weyland is gone, it doesn't make any sense, the acting is wooden, the director is a lunatic. Where else can we go but bad CGI and oh dear god, what in the name of H.R. Geiger is going on here?
Long story short, the Queen also got some gifts from Ripley, such as a womb. Now I'm telling you this instead of showing you this because there is no way on the good name of Susan that I could show this without getting a community strike. What I can tell you though is out of this womb comes the newborn, yet another alien-human hybrid that decides it's going to bond with Ripley as its mother.
This thing is something. It's a super powerful alien-human hybrid, because we totally needed yet another one of those. Oh, and it's a virgin birth. At least it gets a semi-cool death scene, but God, I hate this film. Want to know something even more messed up? This Drek was written by Joss Whedon. Yeah, Joss Whedon. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Firefly, the first couple of Avengers movies. Somebody who ultimately should know better. Well, okay, sort of.
If you haven't realised it yet, I'm stalling. I'm padding this video out with anything else I can to avoid having to play today's main game. Fine. Here goes nothing.
I'm going to paint a picture here. Alien Resurrection was released theatrically on November 26th, 1997. Normally, even with half-competent developers farting out a tie-in game, there would be a product on the shelves around the same time. Oh no! Alien Resurrection for the PlayStation 1 came out almost 3 years later, on October 10th, 2000. You might think that this is a GoldenEye situation. Release the game years later to avoid shipping a shoddy product, and normally I would join you in that naivety. However, this game bears the mark of Satan.
Argonaut Games, better known for games such as Bionicle, Star Wars Maths, and the Catwoman tie-in video game. As it turns out, the devil does not live under the rainbow. Nor is he a laughing, joking numbnut.
One actually half-decent opening FMV later, the game starts by uploading data. Uploading to where? Yo, Zuck, are you piping my personal information from the PlayStation?
No wonder this thing's so damn big.
This game is best played in the dark.
Thematically, this does make sense, since it is based off of a horror film. However, this is the only time the game makes a remote attempt to be scary.
Starting out as Ripley 8, the goal is to, did it say? Well, I guess surviving would be the first order of business. First things first, this game, given that it came out in the later years of the console, makes full use of the analog sticks and not the D-pad, so controls are more akin to a modern shooter.
And that's the last nice thing I say about this game.
The level is a bland brown maze. I get that the film is also a bland brown turd, but a little green acid splat in the environment, maybe a spackle of blue strobe light, something, anything, nope, just grey and brown.
Huh. So this is what it looks like inside of Cliff Bleszinski's head. Who knew?
Environment aside, the models aren't too bad for PlayStation 1, but I don't know, I've definitely seen better. After a few minutes of walking around, I found a pistol, a keycard, and a locked door. Okay, it's obvious what to do. Unlock the door with a keycard, right? So, why is the door not opening?
We are maybe 10 minutes into the playthrough, and already we've encountered a game-breaking bug. This is incredibly well documented on the internet, and throughout my entire attempt to play this thing, there were multiple instances where doors simply would not open. 3 extra years in development, huh? What were you doing? Were you like, just the whole way through it? Because that's kind of what it feels like you were doing.
So, I reload the damn game, start afresh from the beginning, and okay, this time the door opens. Something of note, this game isn't particularly friendly. In fact, it's pretty bloody difficult. This comes to a head in the next stage, where you take on the role as Cool, Winona Ryder's character from the film. This level features multiple death traps, and moments when the Xenos just gang up on you, and they are far from fragile, and the ammo situation is abysmal. The game gives you a shotgun pretty early on, but rarely do you ever find any shells, so you end up relying on your pistol a ton. Of course, the pistol is rather ineffective, requiring way more bullets than is necessary to take down a single enemy.
This bothers me greatly, because in lore, Xenos are quite fragile. The idea is if that you attack it, it'll squirt the melt juice at you as a form of self-defense. However, in this game, they are tanks, and did I mention the acid blood does nothing? No sizzling, no AoE, nothing. Zip. Nada.
It's not like they'd need many more advantages anyway, since these bastards just swarm you. And for the record, this is on easy. Finally, level 3, back as Ripley, and it's a maze to try and find the other Ripley clones and euthanize them. At least it would be a maze if, yet again, this didn't happen. I have the keycard. This is the door. For Christ's sake.
It was around now that the frustration started to set in, and it hit me. This game is from the time when cheat codes were a thing. So, there's no polite way of putting it, I just hit fuck it. I googled and I found codes for a level skip, infinite ammo, and because I can, infinite health. This game wants to cheat, I'll cheat right back.
And it's not like that helped much. Level 4 has you play as the generic Jarhead character, who at least has a few nice firearms, but there's a bigger threat than laser beams and xenomorphs, and it's facehuggers. Step on one or get remotely near its hitbox and it's an instant kill. Well, sort of. You get to walk around and potter for a few seconds before a chestburster pops out of you, but it's all the same. They're fast, they're quiet, and the amount of times I dropped down unknowingly onto a facehugger was absolutely insane.
So, I can't even cheat to get ahead in this game. Suddenly I'm realising why it was forgotten about.
One last run now, and I decided to just skip ahead to the final level just so I can see the boss. And obviously, yeah, it's the newborn. It's another bullet sponge, and it just sort of follows you around the level. To beat it, you have to turn these valves after leading it through each section of the ship. I don't know, it's not awful. It's a step above the whole press 3 buttons to kill the queen shtick that Colonial Marines pulled, but when you're only marginally better than the game that murked Gearbox Software, is it really an achievement? I'm done, my dudes. I would go back and try and play the level that ends with the alien queen, but
How can this special get any worse? Oh, what fresh hell is this?
Imbécile! Comment osez-vous dire du mal de Jean-Pierre Jeunet? J'adore Amélie!